Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of our CapeSpace Connections series. I am Haley Cote. I'm the community manager of CapeSpace Mashpee, and I am so pleased to have here with me today two friends of CapeSpace. We have Krysten Kelliher, the marketing manager for Mashpee Commons, and Katy Acheson, the executive assistant for the Mashpee Chamber of Commerce. We wanted to bring Katy and Krysten here today to get a better understanding of how Mashpee has been doing during this whole COVID-19 pandemic. We at CapeSpace, we love being a part of this community, and we wanted to shine a spotlight on two of the pillars, really, of the Mashpee community with the Chamber and the Commons. So first off, ladies, how are you guys doing? How are you?
Well, good.
Good.
There.
Yes. Yeah, good to see your faces. Let's see. So Krysten, I'll start off with you because, Mashpee Commons, I think, is really the heart of this local business community here. So first off, Krysten, you started this job like right before the pandemic hit. Is that correct?
Yep, 2 days before the lockdown started.
Oh my goodness. How was that like?
It was good. It was, the team here is very supportive. So I had my computer up and running and everything, able to work from home. But yeah, definitely a challenging time to get started. Wasn't quite what I was expecting when I signed on. So
Absolutely, yeah, I can imagine. So Krysten, how would you say the Commons has fared during this whole pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, obviously like every other business, we did definitely see some of those difficulties. It was very sad to walk through the Commons, seeing those empty streets. Of course, I think we're seeing a slower summer than we normally would. So it was definitely a different vibe in the Commons that I think a lot of people were not used to. One thing that we did try to implement was, how could we support our local businesses, especially? Obviously, we care about all of our businesses, but especially the local businesses here that, struggling, that were shut down, that were not able to operate as normal during all of the closure, which I think was 3 months or so. So we tried to do a few social media pushes. So one of the things that we implemented was our locally Cape Cod small business feature, which was essentially a way for us to introduce our local small businesses to the community. So, here's the face of, I actually think that CapeSpace was a part of it. You were our first one, I think. But here's, the face of CapeSpace. Here's what they do. Here are a few pictures of the interior of CapeSpace, just so, introducing folks to what each business is like and sort of the products that they offer, how people could support them during the shutdown and everything. We also are supporting our businesses with running giveaways. So Mashpee Commons sponsor giveaways on Instagram and stuff like that, just to engage the community and really try to stay in touch with everybody. We push gift card sales a lot to try to, again, support those local businesses during the shutdown. Yeah, so definitely a different year, I think, than what we're used to, but trying to adapt, so.
Absolutely. Katy, I guess I'll kind of ask you a similar question, how the chamber has evolved and adapted during the pandemic here.
Sure. We started working remotely, which is what a lot of businesses have had to do to keep everybody safe. And we are the Chamber of Commerce is a complicated job, and I think there's no clear definition of what different chambers do because different size chambers do lots of different things. So one of the things that we do often is fundraise through events, through bringing people together. We used to have monthly, and we were actually increasing to twice a month networking meetings. And my focus in February was getting bodies together, bringing people together. Haley, you were a part of that initiative of building a group of ambassadors to bring people together to get bodies in businesses to see what those businesses do. That has obviously shifted. So we're not having our large fundraising events. The example coming up tomorrow for us, I don't know when this podcast comes out, but La Tavola last year was 550 people, and we can't responsibly do that right now. So we have had to change that focus from bringing people into businesses, instead bringing the businesses closer to them. And we've also done a lot more work with our other local small chambers in facilitating surveys and research and talking to legislators and being part of conversations that are going to impact all of the businesses in Massachusetts and all the businesses on Cape Cod,
Mhm.
all the businesses in Mashpee. So certainly my shift in focus, I can speak specifically for myself, was that I was going from a real in-person focus to a much more policy-driven focus, I think. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So speaking about the policy, what kind of insights can you offer there? What kind of conversations have you been specifically having, maybe at that state level, that might affect Mashpee in the future?
Yeah, so my role has been as listener for the most part, especially in my role at the chamber. We've got a board of directors that make a lot of decisions, and there haven't been a lot of decisions that the chamber specifically has made.
Mm-hmm.
We've been pushing out in our bulletin lots of opening surveys and trying to make sure that all of our businesses are up to date on the policies, right? So anytime any news came out from the governor or the lieutenant governor, that we made sure that that was clearly communicated to our businesses, which is really the role that I took on as far as advocating for our businesses. Mary Lou, especially, who wasn't able to join us today, was on all of those calls with state level officials, asking serious and important, difficult questions of our legislators, especially about the reopening process, which fortunately feels like we're coming to a really stable place with now in Massachusetts. But during phase 1 and 2, we were having to ask a lot of questions about public spaces that I think now most people feel pretty comfortable with, as far as, I think Krysten can talk more about, being a host to a public bathroom, for example, was hugely contentious. So that's like the bathroom situation was a really big one. So, and having different kinds of businesses open in different phases, and pushing for things like allowing mixed drinks to be taken in carryout containers was a really big thing for restaurants too.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of examples.
Right, yeah. So yeah, Krysten, I'll throw it back to you. How was that reopening like in the Commons, and what have kind of been the biggest changes you've seen to the way business is being done here in the Commons?
Yeah, very similar to that. So the first point is we normally have a very robust event schedule in the summer, particularly, which obviously we've had to adapt to, we've had to pull back on. You mentioned public spaces, public bathrooms, of course. So we've had to really adapt what that looks like. So, historically we do movies and live music at the bandstand and block parties and sidewalk sales and all that fun stuff that I think everybody in the community looks to us for and counts on us for. So that's, one of those things that's sad as well that we can't continue on with at this point in time. But and speaking of adapting, so we are launching our drive-in movie series. So again, not sure when this podcast launches, but our first drive-in movie event is tonight, so August the 6th. And we had it last week, but we had to reschedule due to inclement weather. But we've been doing stuff like that. We obviously have a few fitness businesses located in the Commons, which they are very restricted in what they're able to do in terms of indoor classes. So they've adapted to moving to outdoor classes. So we've got Bespoke doing spin classes and Interglow at the bandstand doing yoga classes in a safe way. But same type of idea, trying to really understand and through the phases what that looks like. We did run into those kinds of challenges with some businesses opening in certain phases, some opening in later phases, trying to implement standard hours in some capacity so that our shoppers knew, okay, I can expect to come to the Commons 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on a Saturday and know that the bulk of the stores will be open. But running into those challenges of not wanting to implement those hours for people, especially during those challenging times, a lot of inconsistency, I feel like, for our shoppers. So I think that was a hurdle that we had to overcome as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I know there have been several new additions to the Commons since this has all happened. Can you kind of talk about those new additions?
Yeah, absolutely. So even though it's been a challenging time, we managed to open up a lot of stores here, which is great. So I believe starting in, June. So Day Off is a lifestyle store. They're doing very well here in the Commons. They opened June 8th, I think, as soon as they were able to. Cell Phone Fixer, they opened up on North Street. Unique Living, which I believe they had a store here previously, but they opened up again in a pop-up capacity. So they are located in Central Square. Wampanoag Trading Post and Gallery, they just opened up maybe a month ago or so. So great to add them to the neighborhood. They are also located on North Street. Lululemon opened up a pop-up shop, which was a big thing for us as well. So they are, I believe, located on Market Street. Smith Family Popcorn opened, so a little
Smell it every day, yeah.
So they're fun. They always have samples and stuff like that, and you spin the wheel, you can win a free bag and everything. So love having them. Cape Camo just opened up last weekend, actually. So they are also located on North Street. Mr. Sid, which is a pop-up store. I believe they're scheduled to be here for 2 months or so, but they may extend that. They are a men's suit store, so they opened up on North Street as well. And then coming soon, we've got Cape Cod Nail Company, which we're really excited about. So a lot of great new additions, obviously in addition to our existing merchants, which we love having. But yeah, very fun to see everybody opening up and operating and trying to get on their feet even in this difficult time.
Mm-hmm. And that makes me think that it seems like the future is quite promising then, I guess. Maybe I'll start with you, Katie. Kind of what are your thoughts on the future of business in Mashpee?
Yeah, when I saw your questions and I saw this one, I've been thinking about it for 24 hours. Going, what is the future like? How can I feel like I can't tell the future ever again because of everything that went sideways this year. What I can say though is that I think there's been a few perspective shifts locally. I can't speak too far beyond, but I think people realized early on that the businesses here are run by people from here and operated by people from here, like the three of us, right? We're all trying to run businesses, and that is a perspective shift, I think, a little bit. So there are certainly people that have grown a certain understanding about how businesses run and how personal that is to the people that run them. So hopefully that manifests as patience, and hopefully that manifests as a little bit more kindness. We've seen the opposite of that take place at places like Polar Cave, but we've also seen that manifest in the right direction with some other places, seeing people patiently wait outside in lines, taking their time, and supporting the restaurants really early on was a really beautiful thing to see here in Mashpee. It was really, everyone I talked to was doing takeout where they hadn't before. I went to every single restaurant in Mashpee. And there were places I hadn't been in years. I'm like, you know what? We're getting takeout twice a week. This is our civic duty. Let's go. So seeing community rally around businesses in a way that they hadn't before gives me a little bit of hope that people have a little bit deeper appreciation for what goes into running a small local business and the dependency on the community. And so many people work at those places that were then left at home or having to totally shift the way they work. So as far as the future of Mashpee, we've always been resilient. It's a resilient little town, which sounds a little cliche, but it really is true. We're so fortunate to have some really strong business people in town. We're really grateful, everyone in town, for the draw that the Mashpee Commons brings. We also have, South Cape Village right across the street. Deer Crossing has been in operation and at capacity for a really long time as well. So having those strong businesses in place, I think that, we've got the pillars we need to continue to grow. That's what I see. And it might be a little slower, and a few of us might have to start over, but I'm cautiously optimistic about the future of this little town.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So Krysten, with respect to Mashpee Commons, kind of how do you see Mashpee Commons evolving going forward in the future and its role in the community?
I think the same way as Katie just said, very cautiously optimistic. I know for us, we would love to get going with our events. We would love to really become that sort of community gathering place again, where people can expect certain things from us. So, live music, like I said, outdoor movies. So we really are hopeful that we can get to that point again, that we can start bringing that back to the community, but of course in a safe manner that everybody feels comfortable with. So I think we are trying to position ourselves as a community-focused area and a place where people feel comfortable being, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's wonderful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, in regard to some more maybe tangible things going forward, is there any update as far as like the housing development projects here in the Commons, or just anything new in general that maybe people can look forward to in the coming months?
Yeah, not at this stage in time. I think, a lot of the shutdown really put a wrench in some of those plans. So I think at this particular point, we're just sort of taking a step back and readjusting what that plan is going to look like. So, but we hope to have some information soon.
Yes, nice. Let's see, you guys. Before I let you go, is there anything else you guys want to point out or make the audience aware of?
Yeah, I mean, there's, as far as businesses are concerned, the only other thought I had was that, it's kind of Krysten brought this to light, is everyone's kind of had to take pause and think a little bit harder about what the next step is going to be. And, I think that's happening personally and professionally for a lot of people. And I think that that's really okay. Just personally, I think it's been really nice. Like I said, there's been a perspective shift of people focusing on people a little bit more. We've lost a lot of people, even locally. Even before the pandemic, Mashpee got hit with a couple of really devastating losses to public figures. And so it's been a really important year for us, and continuing to focus on the people. And, Haley, having some people here to talk to is a really great way to do that. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. Yeah, I'm glad you guys could do this with me here. I think this has been great. Well, thank you both again, and be sure to stay tuned to any updates from the Commons in the Chamber going forward here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, guys.